understand.
When the Spaniards came over here and started speaking Spanish, you did not say, hola, como estás? You did not understand their language when they came over here. You did not start speaking Spanish until they conquered you. Read.
A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
When the Spaniards came over here, they were a nation of fierce countenance. They showed no mercy. They committed atrocities like cutting the babies out of the women's stomach. They made you go into the mines and bring back diamonds. And if you didn't bring back enough diamonds or gold, your limbs were cut off. They took your babies and bashed their heads up against the rocks. These are some of the atrocities that the so-called Spaniards did.
Hey, while you're in the first 5 seconds of the video, go ahead, like and subscribe.
The Bible is not a general book of religion. It is a book that was ascribed to the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans by our forefathers. The way we have been learned, Catholicism, a lie, taught to us by our oppressor. Pentecostal, a lie, taught to us by our oppressor. Baptists, a lie, taught to us by our oppressor. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans make up the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. That's what they don't tell you in these churches. Christianity don't teach us that we got to keep laws. Keeping the laws, not keeping the laws is why we went into slavery. The so-called Negroes and Hispanics went into slavery. Yes, the so-called Hispanics went into slavery too, by the hand of Christopher Columbus in the 1400s. Their land was taken from y'all. Land was taken from y'all by the conquistadors. The Spaniards came over here and took your land, and we have the records to prove it. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. We're going to go into why the Hispanics, the blacks, and the Native Americans suffer the atrocities that they suffer in America today. We're going to go into why we suffer the oppression that we suffer today.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 15. But it shall come to pass. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So Moses told the Israelites in the wilderness, if you do not hearken to the voice of God, which is listening to this Bible, that something's going to happen to you. Read.
To observe, to do all his commandments, and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So if we did not keep the commandments of God, we would be cursed as a people. Read.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
So, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans, what are our conditions in the cities? What were our conditions in the field as we worked from sun up to sundown for little or no pay? In the 1600s, we worked for free. All right? And God said that would happen to us. Why? Because we disobeyed God's laws. Read.
Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
Read that again. Cursed in the city.
Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field.
So that's why we got to boycott. That's why we got to walk around and protest. Because we, as a people, we are cursed in the city. In our neighborhoods, there's drug dealing. There's prostitution. All right? So God said that we would be cursed because we turn from our heritage, which is God's laws. Give me verse 49. Let's go into what happened to the so-called Hispanics over here in this country. Because this was originally your country. But the Spaniards came over here and took it. The English came over here and took it. The French came over here and took it. And then they put a wall up and said, you're an illegal alien if you come across the border. This land was already yours. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
So God said, if you did not keep his commandments, he would bring a nation against you from far. So you so-called Hispanics was on this side of the earth. Who came from afar to conquer this? Where were the conquistadors from? They were from overseas, over in Spain. And they came over here and took your land and conquered your land. Starting with Christopher Columbus. He started the so-called slave trade. The Hispanics went into slavery first. When Christopher Columbus came over here, the first thing he did was shackle people up and take slaves back over there to Queen Isabella over in Spain.
Bring it out.
And that same slave trade went all the way into the 1600s to when they started bringing us over here, the so-called blacks, your brothers.
Right.
They don't tell us we are one nation. We think we're separate. We're separate in religious practices. We're separate in languages. And they separate us because we have color differences. Read from the top.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
So that nation that was brought against you from afar, that was the Spaniards. Read.
From the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth.
So as swift as the eagle flieth, that's a clue of who the Lord was sending over here. Right. What was the symbol of Spain? Come up and deal with us, brother. What was the symbol of Spain? It was the eagle. Read that again.
As swift as the eagle flieth.
So the Lord sent the Spaniards against the so-called Latino, what they call Latinos. The word Latino that's not even the proper name for you. You're the Israelites according to the Bible.
That's right.
You so-called Puerto Ricans, you're from the mighty tribe of Ephraim.
Right.
You so-called Mexicans, you're from the tribe of Issachar. This Bible is your heritage. This is your history book.
Right.
They don't teach you that in these churches. They don't teach you that the so-called blacks, the tribe of Judah, of the tribe of Benjamin, of the tribe of Levi, they don't teach you that those are your brothers. Read.
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
When the Spaniards came over here and started speaking Spanish, you did not say, hola, como estas? You did not understand their language when they came over here. You did not start speaking Spanish until they conquered you. Read.
A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
When the Spaniards came over here, they were a nation of fierce countenance. They showed no mercy. They committed atrocities like cutting the babies out of the women's stomach. They made you go into the mines and bring back diamonds. And if you didn't bring back enough diamonds or gold, your limbs were cut off. They took your babies and bashed their heads up against the rocks. Right. These are some of the atrocities that the so-called Spaniards did. Read.
And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land.
So for years and years and years, the fruit of your cattle and the fruit of your land these lands that you worked and grew crops and raised animals, the Spaniards came over here and took that stuff and they ate that stuff. They benefited from the fruit of your labor. All right? That's what happened because we did not keep the laws of God.
Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family.